to thank my sponsors. Nike. Just it's ballsy, but it's worked. It's worked in the past. Okay, ready. Your speaker number 3, the final speaker from. No, just kidding. Yeah, final speaker from the affirmative team.
Will I be?
No.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah. In a normal.
From the affirmative
Right,
team,
yeah,
the final
yeah.
speaker. I'm tired. Ready? Go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and as my partner had said, folks who choose not to choose their gender. My name is Brandon Knott. I will be the final speaker here for the negative team, even though we are actually speaking out of order. My arguments here today will prove to you, as audience members here today and as adjudicators, that in the next 100 years, will we actually negative, will we actually affirmative? So I kind of was incorrect in what I meant to say. We're actually the affirmative team, and we will actually prove that humanity's impact on society environmentally will be the most significant in the next 100 years. And before I get into a couple other arguments beyond what my partner has said, I would like to actually argue the arguments or the points that Miss Adele, the singer, has actually brought up. She was arguing my partner's arguments previously about how we actually have many effective ways of solving all the environmental problems. Her first argument was basically that the energy from the sun was not that efficient. Well, first off, I'd like to identify that. Sorry.
Just want to keep the time. Pausing. Go ahead.
And get into my wasted account. Okay. Alright, you might have to tap the screen here once in a while.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, getting back to the arguments, Ms. Adele had mentioned that the energy from the sun is not that efficient, but I would argue in contrast to that, that even though she identifies this is the case, she does not necessarily argue the point that my partner has said, and that the solar panels are actually effective. So my partner's points actually should continue to be proven as true, because she did not talk about how effective the solar panels are. Also, she has no sources of information. She just makes a conjecture about how that the sun's energy is actually less efficient. Also, she continues with her conjectures in her next 2 points. She doesn't really support most of the arguments that she actually has to say. She briefly just mentions a point and then just kind of moves on, which is something that kind of proves to a certain degree how confident somebody is about their arguments, that they do not talk or elaborate quite a bit on their arguments. So that is something to consider. And they're laughing right now, so that must prove even more so that they're not so confident in their arguments. So I would like to just point that out. So please accept my partner's arguments as truth, because frankly he had much more to say. It was much more entertaining when he actually talked about it. So yes, those are my final points about his arguments. But I do have a couple stronger points here to prove to all of you that actually we will make the most significant impact to the environment here in the next 100 years. And that are, those 2 points are, first, I would like to point out that here in the next 100 years, we have, for the first time in history, the internet. In the past 100 years, or actually in the past in terms of civilization, we've never had a communication network in history that were able to collaborate and work together to solve all the problems that exist in society. And now, moving forward, because of this, we have solved many, many problems in the fastest time possible. And we've actually been a lot more efficient than we have been historically because of the internet. And fortunately for us and for society for the next 100 years, we are very fortunate that we have that. Secondly, I would like to also point out that society in general, or people in general, are very reactionary. We are procrastinators by nature, and unfortunately we do not react or we do not do things unless we, frankly, do I have 15 seconds left? We do not do things until the problem actually exists. And in society, we have environmental problems that kind of slowly identify them as problems, but not until society, frankly, is coming to the brink of destruction do we finally actually react. And in the next 100 years, as Al Gore and the Inconvenient Truth has proven, we are coming to the point where, oh, and she's giving me the hint. Okay, anyway, Al Gore has actually pointed out that we are coming to the brink of the end of civilization. we as a society will react, and at that time we will do what we need to do in order to solve those problems, because we are also very Darwinistic, and we will survive. And was it Gloria Gaynor? I will survive. Anyway, as a human race, we will find the ways and solve these problems in the next 100 years. And that's why I would like to argue that we will make the biggest impact in the next 100 years to the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nas.